What's going on, everybody? It's Chris with ProPhoto, and this is Geared Up. This is our live broadcast where we talk about gear, lighting, techniques, photography stuff in general. If you have any questions, hopefully more pertaining to light, because that's what we talk about here. But that's what Geared Up's all about. I'm here. Kate's here.
Hey! Hold on. Hey!
Yeah, she's there. She's there. Kate's here. And today we're going to be talking about how to light a green screen. Now, before full disclosure on like how kind of all this stuff works. So generally when we're setting up the lives, there's about 20 to 30 minutes before you see me, that Kate's kind of checking everything and I'm pacing in circles because everything that I need to do is done. And full disclosure, in pacing today and thinking about what it is I wanted to make sure I talked about, I realized that we're in the photography world, that we're not in the video world. So the color of the background doesn't quite matter as much as it would if you were trying to key it out in video, right? But there's some things that make a stark color like this interesting, and we'll talk about that. But really what we're talking about is how to evenly light a background so you can get rid of the thing, right? Now there's, I do know that Photoshop's really, really good these days at removing the backgrounds and stuff like that, but there's still some things you want to think about to make your job a little bit easier if you're going to be doing it manually. So let's jump into that. So generally when you're lighting a background, especially for something that you want to remove it, you're going to want to try to keep that background as even as possible. So there are some people who may be working with minimal gear. One of the things that can happen, say you're trying to light the person with one light. Let's just use this for example. It is a little dark from this angle. It's probably better to go from the forward angle anyway. There we go. So let's just turn the continuous light on this. I think you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. I don't think my other lights will overpower me too much. So one of the things that you can run into when you're doing this kind of stuff and you're trying to get close to the background because you have one light is you can see my shadows starting to creep in there. That's always fun, right? Shadows there. The closer you get, you're going to be able to see some more of that stuff. Now you have the option to back a little bit further away from it. You can back the light up some, but still the shadow's kind of there. Makes things a little bit difficult. So one light can be tough. The better move, so what you generally want to do is you want to light the background. So that's actually where I was going to go next. So if you want to light the background, but you still only have one light, the issue you can run into, so I blocked the light, right? But the issue you can run into that you can see in the shot is there's a gradation. So it's brighter right where the light is, and that it moves off pretty quickly. This makes the background uneven. Could make things a little bit more difficult to remove. Now, ideally what you would do is you would have multiple light sources. You'd have two light sources. Your best friend is going to be distance. That's going to allow the light to fall off slower or wider. And so what that's going to allow is for the background to be more evenly lit. So now if you're in a place where you may not have, I mean, we're not in a huge studio by any means. I think we say this all the time, but we're probably in about a 14 or 15 by 20 or 25 foot space. It's a good size space. It's not a huge space. It's, our studio. So I have a little bit more room that I can move around. So like when we photograph Kate today, we're going to have her kind of like right here. Okay. So the lights are still, they shouldn't be hitting her. They have a ton of room to actually get to the background. So that's, again, distance is going to be your friend in this instance. So you want to try to get the lights far away from the background as you can. If you can't get the lights far away from your background, there's a couple of things you can do. You can go strip boxes. I like strip boxes, but you can do soft boxes. The nice thing about strip boxes is you can keep them thin and out of your frame if you don't have a ton of room. Another good move are V-flats. V-flats are really, really good. You can shoot, you can do it a couple of ways. If you have the distance and you don't want to have to worry about the light getting onto your subject, you can use the V-flat to just block the light and keep the light firing directly at the background. If you don't have the room and you need to light some more area, you could actually flip the light around, shoot it into the V-flat, have that hit the background. And the cool thing about hitting the V-flat is you're going to get a bigger light source. It's going to be a little more even top to bottom. So again, distance is your friend, size is going to be your friend, but I would say try to light from 2 spots as opposed to 1. Again, the upside is that we're working in, Photoshop and stuff like that, so it's a little bit easier with our tools to get rid of a lot of this stuff. But still, good stuff to know. And then another thing that makes doing this and removing your background easier, your composites work a little bit better, is going with something like rim lights. You don't have to go with a rim light, but having the little extra highlight around the edge of the subject really, really helps. We're going to photograph with both and just kind of talk about it. And what we'll probably do also is, I know I showed you a little bit with the consistent lights. Oh, I hear me double check.
But it sounds good.
Yeah, I think we're good on audio. So, but I could also be bumping my pack.
Very likely.
Very likely. The rim light, again, is just going to help a little bit more with that separation. It's going to make sure that any of the color cast that could come from the background is going to be kind of deleted a little bit by the light. And now let's talk about color cast. So one of the other things you want to do when you're lighting your background is you're going to want to try, especially if you're using a color to like a start color like this green to mask out. One, you're going to want to make sure that you're properly exposing the background. What a lot of times people will do, and you'll see people do this a lot with white backgrounds, they'll just bump the power way up. And what that's going to start to do is going to start to flare the background. So you're going to start seeing that light hit that background, and all that light's going to start bouncing around the room. It's going to come back. It's going to get all over your subject. It's going to cause you're going to lose some contrast in your shot. You want to be careful not to push your background lights too hard. Light meter's your friend here, but you could also TTL the background. The upside for shooting into a background with TTL is it's just trying to make it 18% gray, so you could easily make it 18% gray by doing that. But you want to keep from flaring that background, if that makes any sense. Have any questions from anyone yet? Kate?
Nope. Peeps says happy birthday, Chris.
Oh, thanks for the happy birthday. Appreciate it. My birthday was on Friday, so I'm older now. Yay.
You know, wiser.
Oh, definitely not wiser, just older. Older and more achy. So cool. So let's dive in. We're going to take some shots. I'm going to show you with and without the rim light. We're going to talk about flaring that background. We're going to really bump the power and show you how that color can really mess up the shot. So let's do just that. You ready to rock and roll, Kate?
I am ready.
The way, again, I don't have the biggest studio space in the world. We have some room to work, but I'm going to try to creep in over there and stay out of the way for a lot of the stuff. The upside is the Connect Pro, the new remote. I can see all my powers. I actually have all 6 of my groups again, so we're in business. Light-wise, we're going to be using for our key light is this. I've got a Pro 11 with a 4-foot octa on it. It should be coming down now in the scene. You should be able to see that. 4-foot octa. This is my main light. All the background, so the 2 background lights are B10. B10 pluses, either the X or the non-X. I think that one right there is a non-X, looking at the dashes on the side. But they're all the same power levels. And then my background, or my kicker lights are also, as I'm hiding over here in the corner, my kicker lights are also B10 pluses and X pluses. So the 2 lights back there that Kate is Vanna Whiting for us, those are B10 X pluses. And the fronts are B10s and B10 pluses and B10 X pluses. There you go. Camera settings, F8, ISO 100, 1/25 of a second, as usual. So cool. So I'm going to show you. So this is let's go over here to the remote. I'm actually going to kick.
You need me forward, right?
Yeah, about right there.
Excuse me.
We're going to kick off the. Oh, I turned off the wrong light. We're going to kick off the background lights, or I'm sorry, we're going to kick off the rim lights. So here we go. So whatever position you get into it and just stay there for a split second. So we have comparisons. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. And we're going to kick on the rim lights. 3, 2, 1. And again, you don't have to go crazy with the rim lights. You don't want those to start to flare, because like if we went if we took the rim lights and we were just like, let's get crazy with rim lights, you could, this is 3 more stops up. 3, 2, 1. You could start having the clothes glowing a little bit more, light bouncing around and stuff like that. So there's that. I'm going to pull those back down. But again, the subtlety is nice. Again, it's going to give you a little bit of the ability to separate things out. So now let's talk about the actual background itself. So you want to make sure that you have a properly exposed background. So where we are, or I'll say this, I actually have underexposed the background here. I've got everything back. Let's take this image right here. You ready, Kate?
Oh, sorry.
3, 2, 1. So I've actually underexposed my background just a little bit, just to help with some of the evenness. I also, again, was worried about flaring of the green and it infiltrating too much of Kate's clothes. So there's actually a part of Kate's sleeve. So the material that her we're over here. Sorry. The material that her top is if she like holds her arm, if she does some sort of a movement where her arm is up, I can see the background a little bit through this. So it's a little bit translucent when the light hits it. So I can see that green. So I want to make sure that I'm not pushing that too hard to really start showing that green through this. Something to think about. So also, cool, knock my camera over. Yeah. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what happens when you start to flare that background. So let's bump the power up. Let's just get weird with it. Let's go up like 3 stops.
And if you have any questions, pop them in.
If you have any questions, pop them in. Yeah. It'll be good stuff. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. So that's what's going to start happening. And then let's just for the heck of it, I'm gonna jam all these up to 10. I'm gonna really push this thing. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So you can. Oh, I don't think we fired on that side. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. There it goes. Oh, that got mad.
That got real mad.
Yeah. So the thing.
What are you doing right now, Christopher?
So this is just a flared background. Actually, did I lose that flash head? Battery died or something? No, it's just grumpy for some reason. I didn't fire the last 2 times. But what happens is you're going to start really kicking. You're going to start flaring the background a lot. You're going to start kicking some green forward. You're definitely going to start losing highlights and stuff like that. So you want to try to maintain a proper exposure on your background. Again, it's going to help. It's going to be easy to remove stuff. You're not going to put weird casts all over your subject, especially if you're doing this and you need to keep, maybe you need to remove the background because it's for some sort of a catalog, but they want a different background for it. You're going to want to make sure that those colors don't destroy the color of the product that you're actually photographing. So
Juan says that he uses 3 D2s, 1000 watt, to get rid of the green overcast.
Yeah. So expand on that for me, Juan, because are you just using the 3D2s as your background lights? Because I think, again,
that's what
the more lights that you can get onto your background to keep it even, the better. Really, the name of the game is keeping the light the same top to bottom, edge to edge. And that's why one light in this scenario can be difficult. Now, if you're shooting really, really tight, you have a really, maybe like a 4-foot backdrop and you're shooting pretty tight on your subject, you could probably get away with one light, but it can be difficult. You may still need a little bit of distance between the light and the background just to not let it spot itself out so much. But again, your best friends and all of this stuff is going to be size and distance. Because we have the distance and I know the degree in which the light is thrown with the B10s, which is 68 degrees, if I'm not mistaken. I know that I can get tons of coverage on this. And then you kick the continuous light on and you can see that as well. So, but really, multiple lights if you can get it. If you have it, if you know you need to do something green screen and you don't have it, rent one. Because especially if it's not your thing where you do it all the time, rent one. It's way cheaper than owning another light.
Jordan says, how do you get the photo to go directly to the camera?
Oh, so
our friend Xavier said tethering.
Yeah, exactly. So we're tethering. So you can there's a couple of good softwares out there for tethering. I personally love Capture One. And so essentially you're running into Capture One, you have a tether cable come out of your camera.
What kind of tether cable do you have?
So my tether cable I use is called Area 51. It's really high quality cable. I get in a 30-foot run. It's red.
It's red.
It's a fun color. But no, they make really, really good cables. I use Area 51. They're not the cheapest cable on the market, but it does a really good job. You know, I'm shooting with the GFX 100, so it's big file. The transfer speeds are good. So Area 51.
Okay, Juan says 2 in the back with a strip box and main light extra large umbrella.
Gotcha. So you are doing the strip box method. The strip boxes are really good for me today. I was finding that I was getting better results with mine bare head. You can see right here, I have my strip boxes that we were using the 1x4s. Honestly, if I would have thrown my 1x6s on there, I probably would have been a little bit happier with it. But I just felt like with the distance I was working, and I could probably back it up a little bit more. I had tons of power to work with. I could have got the light where I wanted. I don't know that I have.
It says that he shoots college media day, so
cool.
all of my shoots are in a gym typically.
So here's
here, you need to move back to your computer.
Yeah, just so you go back on computer. Just so this is what I was getting a little bit earlier when I took my again, this isn't bad. I pulled the power back a little bit from this, but this is what I was getting initially. It was kind of spotting a little bit.
Roll yourself into the frame.
Hey.
Hi.
You know what's funny is I see myself rolling over to the frame, and I want to make myself reach to my computer when I could just
or you could just like
pull it over here to me. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. So
we're back.
See, guys, we're back. It's the shenanigans.
Yeah.
So again, I was getting a little bit more. I was getting kind of a little spot here in the center that I didn't want. I wanted it to stay a little more even, and so I just went to more of a bare head.
Also, Mickey's asking, would you mind telling the settings one more time?
Yeah. So camera settings: f8, ISO 100. Shutter speed is 1/25 of a second. That's my max shutter speed before I can go into high speed sync, and I don't want to do that. And then the light setting wise, I mean, the Pro 11's at 5, so 1/32 power. We're at 6. Oh, these are at 10 now, but we were shooting them at 6.5. The background lights to the background, we were shooting those at 6.5, so that's a little less than one. What is it? A little more than 1/16 power. Oh. There we go. A little bit more than 1/16 power.
Rusty?
And then
Rusty right now?
we're shaking off the rust. We're shaking off the rust.
Okay, guys.
And then the background lights, the rim lights were at 5, so 1/32 power again. So we had tons of juice still to work with even with those settings. So it's really nice.
And one also says I do use A2s for extra lighting depending on the graphics that the school is using.
That's sick, Juan. Thanks for absolutely. Oh, hey, someone's calling me.
See, I told you Rusty forgot to turn off.
I put my watch in silent mode. I didn't put anything else in silent mode. Like I said, we're shaking off the rust. So again, it's when it comes to deleting this stuff, one simple rule: keep it even. Distance your friend, and then just for funsies, just to show you, it doesn't match, and it doesn't match because it's okay that it doesn't match, but it makes it easier to delete out the background. And you could put Kate in New York. You could put her on the ladder of a fire engine. I don't know. You can do whatever you want to do. But that leads me to this next thing. So this is kind of the opening idea behind something else that we're going to do in a future live coming up relatively soon, where we're going to show you how you can look at a background. So if you want to do some compositing and you have a scene that you want to put your subject into, we're going to talk about how you can look at that image, decipher how the light goes, and we can light our subject to match that. That way, when you drop them into the shot, it looks like you're actually there. So this is kind of the preface. Yeah, this is the preface to getting the background ready to rock and roll to be removed on our subject, and then that way we can start breaking down the light. So from the next time that we do this, we're actually going to look at the image first, break down the light, and we're going to move some lights around. So pretty easy stuff. Anybody have any questions about anything else?
If you have anything else, pop it in quick.
Cool.
I don't see anything at the
Again, this is relatively light. And then in in my thinking earlier about, like I said, as I paced, I was like, oh, this is more of a lighting a background thing than necessarily the green screen matters. But having the start color is a little bit easier, you know, especially with Kate wearing white. If we were to keep the white background up, yes, you could do it to remove the white background, but you probably have to, play around with. You'd probably have to play a little bit more with your masks to bring back in parts of the shirt that get lost and stuff like that. So, now that being said,
not measuring with a light meter properly shows. Oh, okay. Does the green screen work well with generative fills?
You know, I haven't messed with generative fill with it. I'm sure it does. Because the upside for this is it makes it easier to select your subject. So you could select your subject, invert the selection, and then generative fill it out. Probably insanely easy. I haven't even thought about messing with it. I should. I have the image open in Photoshop beta. So,
how comparable with the M43 are the Pro Photo? I don't know what that says.
What's that question?
Yeah, here, check it out. Sorry.
Xavier, I'm not 100% sure what you're asking on that one with the M43, the Pro Photo. I'm not really sure what the M43 is. Any other questions?
I think we're good.
If you have anything, also Xavier, if you want to ask me some more questions off because we're getting ready to sign off, just shoot me a DM. We can talk about it. But yeah, cool. Again, this is us shaking off the rust, getting ready to talk about the next live that we're going to do when we break down the light for an actual scene. Thanks so much for coming and kicking it with us this go around. If you have any questions, if there's anything else that you'd like to see, anything that you'd like us to really hone into on these lives, let us know. Send me a direct message. You can send us a Pro Photo direct message. It'll get routed right to me. And in the meantime, I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. See you later, everybody. Peace out.